Hello, I'm Hannah Kaplan, and this is the WCS Wild audio podcast, where you'll find reported audio stories covering the latest news and newsmakers from the Wildlife Conservation Society's Global Conservation Program, Zoos and Aquarium, and their many partners. We've got a great show today, so let's get to it.
Season 5 of the WCS Wild audio podcast begins with a two-part series looking to New York Climate Week, which runs during the UN General Assembly this month. For Part 1, we explore how WCS is focusing on ecological restoration, transforming degraded lands into thriving habitats with a collaboration of indigenous and local communities and innovative tools enabling real-time tracking of conservation progress. Wild Audio's Hannah Kaplan reports on how restoration technology and community partnerships are shaping a sustainable future.
With over 70,000 species, Colombia is one of the most biologically rich nations on Earth. But cattle ranching, a cornerstone of the economy here, has taken a heavy toll on the environment, contributing to widespread deforestation and habitat fragmentation. Selene Torres, Ecological Restoration Lead for WCS Colombia, and her team are working across 14 landscapes and 19,000 hectares to restore ecological corridors that reconnect wildlife habitats while supporting local communities.
We are working with different communities, as Afro-Colombian communities, local community groups and farmers, and also indigenous community in different places.
Selene and her team use techniques like silvopasture to integrate trees and grazing land, improve soil, and create green corridors for wildlife. Strategic fire barriers protect these pathways, supporting the survival of both plants and animals.
And we found that in only 5 years, we can reach a highly effect for biodiversity without negatively impact the production system on which local livelihoods depend.
In the Canamomo region, WCS partners with indigenous communities to provide training in restoration ecology and tree nursery management. In the Pacific region, Afro-descendant women lead efforts to recover culturally significant plant species. These initiatives enhance community well-being, create jobs, and supply the plants needed for restoration efforts.
Restoration can be an economic opportunity. WCS have helped to train them and guide them in this process by building strategies together and recognizing traditional knowledge that is highly important for us. They know about their ecosystem, their species.
Over the last 10 years, WCS has planted over 500,000 plants in Colombia, with a 60 to 80% survival rate. They've signed 150 conservation agreements, trained 700 people, and bolstered 24 local nurseries. Now, Tim Rayden, WCS's Global Forest Restoration Lead, is working on scaling these successes globally.
Ecological restoration is becoming an increasing priority. Countries are committing to 30% targets for ecological restoration. A lot of the places that WCS works are, in fact, human-dominated, degraded landscapes where we need to think about ways we can reconnect habitats, repair damaged ecosystems, and improve connectivity for wildlife.
In Guatemala's Maya Forest, WCS is combating illegal deforestation for cattle ranching by partnering with local communities to rehabilitate land using agroforestry, which involves intercropping maize with trees. Over time, these areas will become lush forests once again.
The Maya project has so far restored around 400 hectares of degraded land in the reserve, and there is lots of potential to grow that to really significant scale.
In Madagascar's Makira National Park, WCS is restoring abandoned farmland to reconnect fragmented corridors. In Laos, a new project aims to restore abandoned village sites. And in Papua New Guinea, efforts are focused on protecting forests for endangered species such as the tree kangaroo.
The WCS team is working with communities in very remote areas of the Bismarck Mountains, pursuing an enrichment planting strategy of degraded forest around their key community sites to shore up those forest areas.
Across these regions, the challenge is the same: how to scale up restoration efforts in a way that benefits both nature and local communities. Tim explains that this requires collaboration, working with organizations like WWF and BirdLife International under the Trillion Trees Initiatives and Reforest Fund.
So across that partnership, the three organizations have an even wider and more diverse portfolio of restoration activities going on around the world that we are seeking now to support and fundraise for through the Trillion Trees program.
But to sustain this momentum, they need a reliable way to track results and tell a compelling story of effective restoration efforts.
If we want to sustain that momentum and growth, we need to be able to track what we're doing properly. We need a consistent monitoring framework that we can apply across these projects despite their diversity. And we need a system that is free at the point of use for our projects in the field.
This is where Diane Detoeuf, Social Science Technical Advisor for WCS Global, comes in. Her team has developed the Forest Map application, FORMAP for short, a groundbreaking platform that tracks conservation efforts in real time.
There are options to collect data digitally now, but not a lot of integrated solutions that allow to not only collect data, but also visualize them by using free or low-cost solutions that are replicable across multiple scales and organizations.
The app allows teams to access project details, data collection forms, and tutorial videos. Users can visualize reforestation progress, species survival rates, and land ownership. Importantly, it allows donors to see the impact of their contributions to the Trillion Trees initiative.
And so you can see on the map where are those sites, what is the intervention planned, what are the species to plant, how many trees they're going to plant.
FORMAP is still a work in progress, with teams providing feedback to improve its functionality. But its potential is enormous, offering a scalable, user-friendly tool for conservationists around the world.
We want to make it easier to provide aggregated results over time, and we want to provide a platform for donors to explore the impact of Trillion Trees.
In addition to tracking indicators of human welfare, the team is excited about next steps in expanding the app, incorporating elements like acoustic monitoring.
You could easily use the same device, a simple smartphone, to collect audio data and use the audio data to show increasing biodiversity. But there's nothing stopping us delegating that role to the local landowners themselves in future and have individual landowners contributing their own data.
The challenge of restoring our planet is immense, but not insurmountable. Restoration initiatives show how blending traditional knowledge with new techniques can revive ecosystems, empower communities, and offer hope for a healthier planet.
This gives me hope again in restoration. If we work with people and in a combination of strategies, we can reach really high results in short time.
Turns out that engaging communities in restoration work is one that sticks. It actually works. It mobilizes people to engage in conservation, and you can see the results.
For WCS Wild Audio, I'm Hannah Kaplan.
Today's episode was produced and reported by Hannah Kaplan, with help from Dan Rosen and Nat Moss. The WCS Wild Audio podcast is a production of the Wildlife Conservation Society. Please join us next week for a new episode, and don't forget to follow, rate, and review the show wherever you get your podcasts.